If you've ever watched your winter soil go lifeless and wondered whether a little sweetness could bring it back, brace yourself because what I'm about to share changes everything. Gardeners everywhere have spent years treating honey and molasses as interchangeable natural sugar boosters, but the truth is far more dramatic. One of these sweeteners nurtures microbes so effectively that you can literally feel soil come alive within days. The other triggers a microbial disaster that suffocates your soil before winter is even over. And the worst part? Most gardeners pick the wrong one. On Crop Corner, we go straight to what works in real gardens, under real conditions, with no fluff. So today, I'm breaking down the real science, the real experiment, and the exact dilution formulas you must use if you want spring-ready soil instead of a sour, collapsed mess. Honey behaves like a soil killer in winter conditions. Here's the trap that confuses so many gardeners. We hear that microbes need carbon during winter dormancy, so naturally we think sugar is sugar. But how sugars behave once they hit cold, oxygen-limited soil is completely different. Honey is made of simple sugars that dissolve instantly and trigger what's known as a microbial flash bloom. Within hours, bacteria sprint into overdrive, devouring oxygen faster than the soil can replenish it. Worse, honey contains natural antibacterial compounds, the same compounds that make it excellent for wound healing. In human health, that's wonderful. But in soil, those compounds suppress beneficial bacteria, right, when they're supposed to be rebuilding the ecosystem. The result is a perfect storm. Too much microbial activity too fast, followed by a sudden oxygen crash, followed by anaerobic takeover. Once that anaerobic process settles in, your soil collapses structurally, turning sticky, compact, smelly, and nearly impossible for roots to survive in. This isn't theory. This was proven in a controlled experiment. To cut through years of confusion and speculation, the test used dead, sterilized soil, no compost, no fertilizers, no amendments, just sugar solutions added to identical containers. The honey mixture was made with 1 tablespoon of honey dissolved in 1 liter of water. The molasses mixture was 1 teaspoon of molasses dissolved in 1 liter of water. Both samples sat at equal temperatures, equal moisture levels, and equal air exposure. Within just 12 hours, the honey sample heated sharply. That heat spike was the first sign that bacteria were multiplying too fast. By the 24-hour mark, a fermenting smell developed, a clear indicator of anaerobic activity. By 48 hours, the soil surface glistened with a wet, sour shine, and by 72 hours the crumbly structure had collapsed into a sticky mass. This is exactly the type of soil that chokes roots in spring. The molasses sample took a completely different path. It warmed gently instead of spiking. By day 2, early fungal threads appeared. The smell remained clean and earthy. After 72 hours, the soil was light, airy, and sponge-like, with an unmistakable feel of early microbial revival. The difference wasn't small, it was dramatic. Honey didn't just underperform, it actively damaged soil life. Molasses didn't just help, it restored microbial balance and rebuilt structure. So, why is molasses the winter champion? Well, molasses contains these slower-burning complex sugars and trace minerals that, feed both bacteria and fungi steadily instead of just all at once. It keeps oxygen levels nice and stable, supports balanced microbial activity, and helps you avoid that dangerous overgrowth you get from simple sugars. Honestly, this is exactly what winter soil needs: slow, controlled, oxygen-friendly microbial reactivation. That's the key to keeping your soil healthy through the cold months. And, when you use it at the correct dilution, molasses becomes one of the most reliable tools out there for repairing depleted winter beds, recharging raised beds, and getting the ground ready for spring planting. It really is a game changer for folks looking to keep their soil in top shape. The exact dilution formula you must use, now, to avoid the same oxygen crash caused by honey, and to steer clear of overfeeding your soil microbes, you really need to dilute molasses properly. These are the formulas that have been tested and confirmed safe. For most garden soil, the balanced ratio is 1 teaspoon of molasses mixed into 1 gallon of water. That's your universal winter soil revival mixture. Now certain soil types may need slight adjustments, you know. Heavy clay soil, which breaks down slowly and breathes poorly, can actually handle a richer formula. Try 2 tablespoons of molasses dissolved into 1 gallon of water, but remember, apply it only once per month. Sandy soil, on the other hand, burns through carbon quickly and honestly loses microbial activity faster. To keep those microbes alive through winter, just use 1 teaspoon per gallon every 2 weeks. That keeps the biology active without overheating the system. Raised beds, already rich in oxygen and organic matter, need the lightest dose. Just half a tablespoon per gallon is more than enough for winter maintenance. Coverage is just as important as dilution, you know. For proper microbial spread, go ahead and apply 1 gallon of molasses solution per 10 square feet of soil. So, that means you'll want to use 5 gallons for 50 square feet and 10 gallons for 100 square feet. Always warm the water just a little, not hot, but just enough so the molasses dissolves evenly. Stir it up until the mixture is completely smooth before you go ahead and pour it. Pour slowly and evenly right over the soil surface, then gently rake the top inch to spread the solution around without burying it too deep. And, to finish up, add a thin layer, about 1 to 2 inches, of mulch to help protect all that microbial activity from those freezing temperatures. Winter soil prep should stay simple and consistent. For best results, just stick to a straightforward routine. So, here's what you want to do. Apply once at the start of winter dormancy, then again in midwinter, and one more time in early spring. This kind of spacing keeps microbes active without overwhelming them, you know. It really helps maintain a healthy balance in your soil. The mistakes gardeners must avoid. Even though molasses is the safe winner in this microbe war, it still needs to be used responsibly. The most common mistake is assuming that more molasses equals more microbial activity equals healthier soil. That isn't true. Over-applying any sugar source triggers the same oxygen crash honey caused. Another mistake is clinging to honey just because it feels more wholesome or natural. But, you know, natural doesn't always mean beneficial. In winter soil, honey's antibacterial strength actually becomes a liability, not an advantage. And finally, never apply any sugar mixture to waterlogged soil. It's just not a good idea. When your soil is saturated, it already lacks oxygen. Adding sugar in these conditions, well, it only speeds up microbial suffocation. So, here's the final verdict in the honey versus molasses microbe war. Molasses actually rebuilds soil life, while honey destroys it under winter conditions. And honestly, when your goal is spring-ready soil, only one of them gives you the microbial boost your plants truly depend on. Winter soil prep isn't complicated. You just need the right fuel source, the right dilution, and the right timing. Used correctly, molasses doesn't just feed microbes, it wakes up your soil, restores its structure, and sets the stage for your strongest spring yet. If this crop corner breakdown helped you protect your garden from winter collapse, go ahead and subscribe, share this guide with other growers, and help us spread the science that keeps gardens thriving all year round.